Welcome to video 3 in our series on how to read people so that you could do a better job at the negotiating table or in any agreement that you're going to make with someone, whether it's going to lunch, going on a date, going on a trip, a marriage proposal, or a really big business agreement. I'm KALYN, and I'm co-founder of Living in the Flow. Living in the Flow is all about living in that place where you are making better agreements because, like my friend Oberon, you innately have wisdom, clarity, and vision. So you can see people, you can see the agreements that you're getting into, certainly the business contracts, and you can do a better job all around. You're in the flow and things work out. And this is our new buddy who is still nameless. So please be sure to give us some suggestions down below. Maybe he or she could have a name associated with seeing people. Clarity, maybe? Vote and let us know. Now, down to our video. This is number 3, where we're talking about tapping into someone's desires. In number 1, we talked to you about having better agreements by looking for people's emotional charges. When you see that emotional charge, you know that there's a red flag. And then you can decide whether or not you can work with those flags, kind of thing. Video number 2, we talked about removing the projections so that you can see what's really there and not what's being projected. If you missed either of those, please go back and watch them, because then it'll make a little more sense, although this one's different. And this one, number 3, we're going to talk about tapping into people's desires. And what that's all about is when someone wants to really, for example, maybe have a relationship, like they really want a relationship. It almost doesn't matter what their emotional charges are. If their desire for a relationship is so much bigger, whether it's a personal relationship or a business relationship, then they will be willing to sacrifice their emotional charges, sacrifice anything to have that fulfilled. One of the things that happens is the emotional charges or someone's issues tend to be bigger and outweigh their desires. Otherwise, really what would happen is the scales would flip, and as they turn, their desires would outweigh their issues and they would bring more wonderful things into their life, or certainly attract what it is that they desire. So you're probably seeing someone who's sort of like this. I really want to do business with you and we could do some amazing things together, or I'd be a great employee at that, And yet, I'd be a great employee, although I'm not willing to do something. I have a friend who is also a client, and he hired someone who was supposed to be a dean in his school. And the academic dean wasn't willing to go to conferences on education. And it's like, well, what do you think the job is? So his resistance or his issues were heavier. It's like he didn't really want to meet people. He didn't really want to connect with people. That's not a very good people person to be a professor and a dean, right? Or an academic advisor, whatever it was. You get the point. So, does he have enough of a desire to be in a leadership role and help people so that being a leader, for example, might mean more to him than the resistance to people, than the not wanting to go to conferences? And in that case, can you help them tap into that desire more? Now, I want you to get a sense that this is a little more involved. It's a lot trickier. Do you want to take on helping people become a better version of themselves? It sounds totally wonderful, and it is, but it's very hard. I mean, if you haven't done that for yourself, you're certainly not going to be able to do it for them. So you want to look to see first if you can do it for yourself, and then really look to see, if you feel like it's a close scale, or if you only have a few applicants to choose from, and they're all kind of like this, well, you probably will have to take the lesser of all the evils, sort of thing. And then you might want to look to see, it's like, well, everyone I interview has an issue, so what am I going to do? I need to hire someone. Maybe you find the person who seems to have the most desire, and you figure, well, maybe if I really help them tap into being a good leader, tap into being a good professor, ask them in the interview if they'll do this, if they'll go to those meetings and improve their position, then maybe I can feed them with that desire, feed them good leadership, help them with that, help them become more of who they desire to be, help them achieve more of what they desire. Maybe they want a longer term position. Maybe they're going to want a raise, and maybe I can help them achieve that and hold that when they rise to the occasion. I can talk to them about rising to the occasion. I hope that makes some sense. The same can be true in a personal relationship. You can do the same. You tap into what someone desires. We all have issues, that's true. I mean, there's no way around that. And if you're thinking that someone doesn't have issues, rethink it, because that's when you're getting fooled into some sort of agreement, personal or business, that really may cause you some problems. So instead, as you look at it as clearly as you can, recognize that everyone has issues, and you decide, how bad are these? Can I, as my own personality, work with these issues? In other words, sometimes the one issue is easier for you to deal with than another. Maybe there are some things that you just can't handle. Like if someone's very volatile, maybe you can't handle that. But if someone's always late to work, but they get it done, maybe you can handle that. Decide what it is that you can or can't handle. And I understand that these are things you feel like you might not know in advance, but in other words, you see some of the issues, hopefully. And so what you see, you start to ask yourself, can I handle that? Can I not handle that? And then you also ask yourself, what do they desire? Because as much as we all have issues, we all also have something that we desire. Maybe it's money, maybe it's a position in either your company or partnering with your company. Maybe it's a position in life, having a short relationship, a one-night stand, or a marriage. Everyone's always looking for something. If you're looking at a traveling buddy, what's the other person looking for in that traveling buddy? Look to see that. Are they looking for someone to have fun with and share their experience with? Or are they looking for someone to take care of them, someone to entertain them? And what fits you? Because maybe that fits you, maybe it doesn't fit you. What's so important is to always have the wisdom and the clarity to look at ourselves and to see what's going to work with us, and certainly what our business needs and what's going to work with our business when we're talking about business. Because I was making this for my friends who are in business and wanted some help on how to read people. So as you look at these things, as you look for their charges, you remove the projections, and you look for their desires, you recognize that everyone has charges, but you look to see, what is their desire? And do they think it's achievable? Because the more they think it's achievable, the more achievable it is. And the more they feel like it's pie in the sky, the more it is. So look for these things, and then hopefully that'll really help you make much wiser decisions at your business meeting or in your life. Help you really see what it is that you're agreeing to, and as much as you can, know what's going to be coming. If you see that they're compensating and that they don't know everything that they should know, or they're compensating and they do get impatient or angry or anything like that, well, then you know what's coming. You know that there will be a lot more of that, and you're okay with that because you've chosen it, kind of thing. That's so much better than being in a position where you don't know, you kind of let yourself get fooled by what they're saying, and you make an agreement or a contract, and then you're stuck in that contract until the contract's over, kind of thing. So I hope that really helps you, because when you're making better contracts and better agreements, you're going to be in a better flow. All because in the flow, you tapped into the flow of greater clarity, vision, wisdom, and then you're going to live more of the richness of life, which is what I'm always after and what I think you should always be after. Because the richness of life brings you the love, the success, maybe the money, or whatever it is that's going to help you be in the flow of abundance and well-being.